Midshipman Comerford, take charge of the company. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Curtis Allen, the Assistant Officer in Charge of CSU Maritime Academy's Strategic Sealift Officer Program. Please take a moment to silence your electronic devices for the duration of the ceremony. On behalf of the President of the California State University Maritime Academy, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to our 2020 commissioning ceremony. We would like to extend a special welcome to our virtual and in-person guests having prior military service and those currently serving. The midshipmen you'll see before you this afternoon will soon take their places among the commission ranks of our active and reserve military, filling important leadership roles and providing a great service to our country. Your presence at this ceremony is truly appreciated. Next, to the family and friends of the commissionees, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you. Thank you for the support you provided to your commissionee and the patience you maintained within the university when we needed it the most. With your help, we were able to celebrate this once-in-a-lifetime event with the honor it deserves. Although somewhat unconventional, this commissioning ceremony will truly be memorable. Joining me is Lieutenant David Perry, the Officer in Charge of the CSU Maritime Academy Strategic Sealift Officer Program. Now, guests, please rise for the arrival of the commissionees and official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors.
Company, attention. Forward, march.
California State University Maritime Academy, arriving. Please join me in the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Company, seats.
At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the President of California State University Maritime Academy, Thomas A. Crawford, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to California State University's Maritime Academy, and welcome to this important moment in the lives of our new Cal Maritime graduates. It's an honor and a pleasure to join in the virtual ceremony and to acknowledge the many friends of Cal Maritime who would normally be standing with us at this annual ceremony. I want to recognize the Navy League, who would normally be here, the Naval Order of the United States, and retired military and maritime officers who would be joining in this celebration. Today, 8 new Navy officers will embark on a journey shared by few. In a nation of 320 million people, about 1/10 of 1% serve in the U.S. Navy. Of those, about 1 in 5, or 1/50th of 1% of the U.S. population serve as Navy officers. The path to commission is not easy, but its attainment provides incredible opportunity for impactful national service and adventure far better than one could possibly imagine. These officers will quickly find themselves leading from the front, and I can imagine no higher calling or any better suited group of go-getters. To your families, and especially your parents, I'd like to offer a profound thank you. Thank you for raising a child who now, as an adult, willingly puts on the nation's cloth to serve as our protector. Our nation is indeed extraordinarily fortunate. I want to welcome those who are with us online. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for celebrating this beginning of a great life for our new ensigns. Today's ceremony culminates years of education, training, and development. So let's begin. Our guest speaker this afternoon is Admiral Douglas Perry, Commander Submarine Group 9. And I want to interject that he's one of several Perrys with whom I've served in many years, and it started with one of the Perrys whose call sign was Jodan, and he was a squadron mate of mine 28 years ago. So that's when I started this path with the Perry. So I want to welcome the Admiral. He's a 1989 graduate of the Naval Academy, a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering, and a graduate of Marquette University with a master's in civil engineering. He served as a division officer, as a Navy diver aboard USS Pittsburgh, and he deployed to the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic, and the Pacific. And as commanding officer of USS Pasadena, from October 06 to February 09, he led the ship on highly successful deployments to the Eastern and Western Pacific. He has also served as the commander of Submarine Development Squadron 5, where I met him years ago, and he led submarine force development of unmanned systems, tactics, and employment, and commanded the Navy squadron of Seawolf class fast attack submarines. Prior to his current assignment, he served as Director, Joint and Fleet Operations at U.S. Fleet Forces Command. He has a number of short assignments, including as a congressional liaison in the Navy Office of Legislative Affairs at the Pentagon. He was also a Navy ROTC instructor at Marquette University and the Chief of Staff at Submarine Force Atlantic. He serves in Silverdale, Washington, and so we'd like to offer a very warm Cal Maritime welcome to Admiral Doug Perry.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you, President Cropper, for that introduction. Much longer than it needs to be, but it kind of says I'm old. Before I get into any remarks, I really want to extend a huge thank you to the parents, and Admiral, President, you nailed it. That thank you to the parents for delivering to Cal Maritime young men and women ready to learn, to embrace the maritime profession, and to eventually serve this great nation. Without what you taught them walking in the door where we could build upon that foundation of hard work ethic and we'd be challenged. But thank you very much for setting us all up for success. All right. So to the class of 2020, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this exciting and meaningful rite of passage. I do hope that my nephew, Dave Perry, your OIC, has been pleasant during your time there at Morro Bay, and that the combination of the two of us speaking to you today isn't forcing you or any of the parents to frantically look for that mute button on your computers. If it is, just take it as the first of your postgraduate lessons. Always know where the mute button is before a video of teleconference. That's something new for 2020 in this post-COVID world. So if you forget everything else I say here today, remember that part, and I've done my mission here today. But seriously, it is an incredible pleasure to be here with you for this celebration of your accomplishments. Thank you for having me. David has told me how driven, enthusiastic, and professional you all are, and I witnessed it myself last year when I visited, and I'm thrilled to be here to welcome you officially into the maritime profession. We need you. As you have seen lately in the news, the circumstances in our country and around the world today have rightly forced us all, and especially your generation, to face the complexities and dangers of our world head on. And the future has come to you. A global pandemic from off our shore has forced us all to change the way we interact and live our lives here in the United States. We've seen our society being confronted with a long overdue national discussion of racism and intolerance in an immediate and tangible way through protests and demonstrations. This is a period in our country's history of profound change and turbulence. The reality is, however, we say that all the time. We all have to work to move forward, and there is much work to be done. We often say that as well. In the face of these circumstances, however, it would be easy to say these problems are intractable, but they're not. Luckily and thankfully, that is not how your generation views the world or our problem. For self, young people who commit themselves to being a part of a team of all races and creeds, united in a mission, in a goal. And while not all of you will serve your country in the military active duty, your service as a merchant mariner is just as needed. The United States is a maritime nation. It defines our challenges, and it truly defines our opportunities. Yearly, our country conducts more than $2.7 trillion in total overseas trade. And more than 172 vessels each and every day make calls in the United States and our ports alone. So it is no overstatement to say that merchant mariners are the lifeblood, the circulatory system of our world economy. So the education that was provided to you at Cal Maritime is fundamental to our nation, our future. It's our merchant marines who move our fuel, move our products, provide necessities for the world, and the conveniences that we recognize as essential to our everyday experience. So one of the primary missions of our Navy today, since its founding, in fact, is to ensure that the global waterways remain free for navigation. This is so merchant marine world run. And I say this not to flatter you, but so you understand. Your country and your world will be depending upon each and every one of you. To accomplish this incredibly important work, the U.S. Merchant Marine relies on trust every day. You will be leading diverse groups of individuals from all walks of life. Sometimes these groups will be small, and it will be imperative that you cultivate and sustain a culture of trust within your watch teams, across the ships that you're working on, in the aircraft squadrons. There's no shortcut or trick to establishing that trust. Kind of two fundamental things. You need to truly care about your people and get to know them, learn where they're coming from, treat them in a way that is fair and honest. Learn from your mistakes. That's part of the relationship building. Learn from your superiors and your subordinates. The second piece is you must be a master of your craft. Whether you're flying an aircraft with my brother Joe Don or driving a submarine with me and my brothers, whatever that is, you earn the trust of your teams by advocating for their needs and enabling them and yourself to become the very best version of yourself. To achieve one's potential, it takes time. But once trust is established, a remarkable thing occurs. That group of individuals, of diverse individuals, becomes a team. And in my life, being a part of a team that has a mission, a purpose, a meaning larger than oneself, that is the most rewarding and the most cherished experiences. As I bring these remarks to a close, I want to add that while you have my respect for all you've accomplished in the last 4 years there in Vallejo, you also have my envy for what you will do beyond Vallejo. I envy the experiences you have in the future. You're going to see the world. You're going to meet new, interesting people from some diverse cultures all around the globe. And you're going to see. That's the best part. I still get excited about being at sea, and you should savor it. Savor the smell and the taste of the salt. Savor the nights looking up at the stars in total darkness. Savor the late nights, the early mornings, the strong coffee in Rotterdam, the foamy lagers in Perth, Australia, and the precision bustle that is Singapore. Explore the mosques in Abu Dhabi, the botanical gardens in Santiago, Chile. You know, all of that heritage is waiting for you. So go after it. For all of those of you who successfully found the mute button, and for all of those who didn't find the button, please draft up some lessons learned, get them to Lieutenant Perry sometime over the weekend, no rush. Please do that. President Cropper, thanks for your quick remarks there about how small the world is, flying with my brother Joe Don. I've flown in a couple SH-60s. Each time I've flown, I got in the back, in the cockpit, were young pilots that grew up flying with my nephew, Dave, or went to the Naval Academy with my nephew, Al. You're going to find that your tribe from Cal Maritime and the tribe that you have around the globe. From that, we're going to build trust. Our nation will depend upon you each and every day. And I have that trust will be well placed. Fair winds and following seas to the class of 2020. And really, thank you very much for letting me be a part of this great day.
Thank you, Admiral. We're now pleased to take a moment to acknowledge the contributions our students have made with awards from various supportive organizations. These organizations continue to demonstrate how proud they are of Cal Maritime students who desired to pursue military service. Commissionees, when your name is called, please proceed to the table at my left to receive your award. The Maori Achievement Award honors a Strategic Sealift Officer Program graduate with the highest overall scores on the Navy Physical Readiness Test. The Department of Naval Science is proud to present the award to Midshipman Samuel Comerford from Fallbrook, California.
Way to go, Sam.
Department of Naval Science Award honors the Department of Naval Science's most outstanding graduate. This year's outstanding graduate is Midshipman Preston Bowers from San Diego, California. Midshipman Bowers is joining us live via Zoom. So we'll acknowledge him with a round of applause for his award. The Navy League of the United States San Francisco Council Award honors a graduate demonstrating the most aptitude for success as a United States Navy officer. This year's recipient is Midshipman Nicholas Sandvold from Honolulu, Hawaii. The Department of Naval Science Admiral Rickover Award honors a graduated midshipman who demonstrates the highest qualities of integrity, leadership, and fighting spirit. This year's recipient is Midshipman Samuel Comerford. The Navy League of the United States Sacramento Council Leadership Award honors the Navy Reserve officer graduate who consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership skill within the unit. This year's recipient is Midshipman Michael Hannigan from Santa Ynez, California. The Navy League of the United States Placer County John Paul Jones Award honors a graduated midshipman choosing active duty service who emulates the qualities of a naval officer as described by John Paul Jones. This year's recipient is Midshipman Austin Hoy from Roseville, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving another round of applause to our awardees.
Good evening. For those of you watching at home, I'm Lieutenant David Perry, officer in charge of the Cal Maritime SSOP. It is a pleasure to be here at my third and almost final commissioning ceremony. These are always a pleasure. Thank you again to President Cropper for his words, as well as my Uncle Doug, Rear Admiral Doug Perry, and a few words for you myself. So when I arrived here at Cal Maritime just over 2 years ago, I would like to tell you that I had done my due diligence and learned a great deal about the school and its programs prior to my arrival. I would like to tell you that I knew how rigorous the education was and how at the school, the students are challenged day in and day out to not only be exceptional students, but also exceptional mariners. Unfortunately, I did not do my due diligence. I did about as much digging as ship bandwidth will allow, which is frustratingly little. In my mind's eye, I imagine the school very differently. After all, the only other institution of higher learning I'd been exposed to where seamanship was a priority was the alma mater of my father, my brother, and our guest speaker, the U.S. Naval Academy. My university didn't have any ships, and despite being a naval officer and spending almost 3 years at Cal Maritime, I'm still blissfully ignorant about the intricacies of professional seamanship. Driving ships is hard. Earning a technical degree is also hard. Doing both at the same time is a massive achievement and one that our graduates have completed while also developing themselves morally, mentally, and physically to be outstanding naval officers. For the graduates you see here today, will sail commercially while helping maintain the nation's reserve naval forces and providing crucial logistic support to the Navy. One of them will go on to serve on board a warship currently stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. If you want to explore the world, 7th Fleet is a great place to start. Not too long from now, the young officers we commission here today will be sailing many of the world's seas. And I know based on what I've learned here about Cal Maritime, they will be ready. I had the opportunity to teach these particular students in my leadership and ethics class this past semester, and the small class size allowed me to really get to know them. If you'll humor me, I'd like to share a little bit about what I learned of each. Mr. Bowers, hello, Mr. Bowers, is one of those students who speaks really only when he has something noteworthy to say or when he's just thought of a perfectly timed joke. He can go from pensive and academic to class clown at the drop of a hat. He and his sailors will enjoy his sense of humor and his ability to learn. Mr. Comerford excels at whatever he puts his mind to, and I'm sure he'll continue doing so far into the future. Mr. Comerford, you'll be successful wherever you go. I guarantee it. Some people can take a sliver of information or an idea of an idea and turn that into a reality. Mr. Hannigan is one of those people. He also does it with a fantastic attitude, which I would argue is equally as important. Mr. Hoy works hard, he works smart, and he's as dedicated as they come. Attributes that Mr. Hoy you're going to need in 7th Fleet. The nation's trust in him is well placed. I'll see you in the fleet, shipmate. Mr. Sandvold is as good an example of the dichotomy of man as you will ever see. 1 minute, he's discussing his finest surfing spots in Oahu, and the next, he's demonstrating the finer points of maritime education during a flag officer's tour at Cal Maritime. His ability to communicate with others will serve him quite well. President Cropper, I certify to you that these midshipmen and officer trainees are ready to become officers in the United States Navy and are worthy of that trust. Will you please administer them the oath of office?
Company, attention.
Okay, as I administer the oath, there's going to be a line in here that says that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And I want you to understand that this is not the end of your training. This is the beginning of your career. And you are among a very, very few officers in the world who swear allegiance to an idea called the Constitution. Most are swearing allegiance to a king or a queen or a party. And that's what sets you very much apart. So if you'll join me and raise your right hand, we'll administer the oath. I state your name.
I, Samuel Thompson Robert,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will never true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
and take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Well, I guess please take your seats. Commissionees, remain standing. At this time, with the official party, please join me near the podium to receive the commissionees. As each commissionee is presented, I would like to recognize those family members who have been instrumental in their successful completion of this program. Receiving a commission in the United States Naval Reserve as a Strategic Sealift Officer, Preston Bowers, joining us virtually. Assisting Ensign Bowers from home are his parents, Mark Bowers and Valencia Luckman. Receiving a commission in the United States Naval Reserve as a Strategic Sealift Officer, Samuel Comerford. We give special recognition to Ensign Comerford's parents, Jeff and Lisa Comerford, and brother, Travis Comerford. Receiving a commission in the United States Naval Reserve as a Strategic Sealift Officer, Michael Hannigan. We give special recognition to Ensign Hannigan's parents, Terry and Sue Hannigan. Receiving a commission in the United States Navy as a Surface Warfare Officer, Austin Hoy. We give special recognition to Ensign Hoy's parents, Daniel and Mary Hoy. Receiving a commission in the United States Naval Reserve as a Strategic Sealift Officer, Nicholas Sandvold. We give special recognition to Ensign Sandvold's parents, Todd and Julie Sandvold. Please join me in a round of applause for the United States Navy's newest commissioned officers. Finally, I would like to thank each of you for your support, for your graduates, and dedication to ensuring we were able to carry out this naval tradition. On behalf of the OIC and myself, thank you for attending our ceremony. Company, dismissed.